been murdered. All the friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. And the bird said nevermore.
You're listening to the Call Podcast with Brandon and Josh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of The Call. It is a Baltimore Ravens podcast where we talk anything and everything Baltimore Ravens football. Thank you all for listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Player.fm, Overcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. Well, it is Thanksgiving week here in the US of A, and Josh and I, we probably think, we sound a little bit differently. We're not in our normal setups, but hey, we didn't want to miss an episode of this crazy season that the Ravens have been putting us through. I mean, I keep telling you, I don't know if my heart can take this every single week, but here we go. Yet another nail-biter down to the wire. Ravens versus Bears. Whew, man, so many things I didn't see coming in this game. But joining me, as always, to talk all about it, my buddy Josh. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Another crazy game for the Baltimore Ravens. Bro, again, we need to write a book. 101 ways to win a football game, or even lose one, for that matter, man. I know we didn't lose this game, but what makes this one so special is the fact that I expected 100%. I mean, and I hate to say 100% because nothing's guaranteed, right? You know, there's the chance they can win the game. I fully expected them to lose this game. I'm thinking like, I could have gotten over with Hollywood Brown being out, right? I'm like, okay, Bateman's upcoming. We're getting Boyle back. We got Mark Andrews, Sammy Watkins is back. So I'm like, Hollywood out for one game against the Bears. I'm like, okay. And then Lamar being sick, and he was a 50-50 shot. And then I was actually – I really hope he gets better, and I'm glad to hear it's not severe and it's not COVID related, obviously. But, I dubbed it the flu game. I'm thinking like, oh, he's going to come out and ball like Michael Jordan. He's going to come out and throw for like 3 touchdowns and do all this crazy stuff. And, of course, he's not playing. And we get the whole, Lamar Huntley's making his first NFL start. And then we just looked at each other and we're just like, oh, this is going to be a long afternoon. Because I'm thinking like backup quarterback against the Bears on the road. This just spells trouble. And I'm like, we cannot lose to the Dolphins and the Bears back-to-back weeks. I know injury, sickness, can't control that, but I'm thinking like, dude, this can't happen. We cannot limp into the 3 game. I mean, the rest of the schedule is a gauntlet, but our next 3 games are divisional opponents. Let's put it that way. We cannot limp in, at 6-4. We were at one point, 6-2, and then you lose 2 straight to these kind of teams, and you're like, all right. And the way the game was going, I personally was just like, this is just like the Lions game, like slow start. The teams are feeling each other out. They're both just equally bad. And then obviously the Ravens went out to a 6-0 lead at halftime, couldn't cash in near the red zone. So, Huntley was moving the ball a little bit good. And then obviously Fields gets hurt, bruised ribs and all. I heard diagnosis. He's not playing this week as the Bears have a short week playing on Thanksgiving against the Lions. And here comes Mr. Andy Dalton. I mean, what were you thinking at that point? You're probably like, here we go. And all the comparisons started to come up, like the whole Tyler Boyd touchdown and how many times he's a Raven killer. I'm like, do you have to remind us?
Yeah. Andy Dalton is definitely a thorn in the side of the Ravens. So to see him come back,
100%.
I'm like, oh, not this guy again. Are you serious? But he came out. He did ball. I mean, he did look really good and being a backup at this point in his career. So you gotta give it to him for what he was able to pull off. But I want to go back real quick. You don't realize you did this. You called him Lamar Huntley. And I thought that was really funny because so many comparisons at the beginning of this game, because it was on CBS.
Tyler. Tyler.
I'm glad you did that though, because at the beginning of this game, it was on CBS. If you're listening to the pregame, all of them were saying how much the offense wasn't going to change because Tyler Huntley and Lamar Jackson are so alike in their playing style, and we saw that in the preseason. So I think it worked out well that he is our backup. He beat out
Trace McSorley.
Trace McSorley,
who's now a Cardinal.
Who's now a Cardinal.
Signed him off our practice squad, and that means maybe Kyler Murray's hurt worse than we thought, right? I brought that up to you when you texted me, and that's another thing. But I mean, obviously, we would have 8 under center. We're not discrediting Tyler Huntley, but Tyler Huntley's back up for a reason. But he did what he was supposed to do: manage the game, He made some mistakes, but he kept everything to a minimum. The damage was a minimum. He did what he was asked to do. Came in to start for Lamar. And somehow got the W. It was awesome. So congratulations to Tyler Huntley for his first NFL victory. Let me stop saying that right now. It's just when you have someone under center for a while, it's ingrained in you. Obviously, we teamed the Bears when Sunday, bro. I mean,
that was crazy. It came down to the end. It was a sloppy game
on both sides.
It was not a good game. But somehow the Ravens are figuring out ways to win. It is honestly, I do really think this is the John Harbaugh next man up mentality, and I think it's working with this group.
Let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people are like, they look at the makeup of the team, right? And we talked about Huntley managing the game. Does that mean the system works well for the type of quarterback we do have with Lamar in under center? Because it's like, if you go from a Lamar to a pocket passer, is it that much more effective? Does like if Huntley didn't have the same kind of skill set as Lamar and have that, do you think that we have a bigger issue on our hands because of that?
I think that they built this offense to surround Lamar. They are building this offense to enhance all of his strengths. And the fact that we have a backup quarterback that does remind everybody so much of Lamar. Does he have the exact amount of talent as Lamar? Absolutely not. But he can run the ball. He can throw the ball. So when you do have a guy like Huntley come in, is it going to be as polished, or is it going to look as good as Lamar? No, it won't. But he can come in, play that backup role, and it's good that not a lot's going to change. I think we brought this up a couple weeks ago. It may have even been the preseason that when we had Joe Flacco and Tyrod Taylor, two very different quarterbacks, and it didn't really – Tyrod would come in, the whole offense would have to change.
That's what I was bringing up. Yep, yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it, because to me, you remember how they drafted Troy Smith as well?
Right.
Like, to me, it's like, why are you drafting those type of quarterbacks and backing up Joe Flacco in that era when they're not the same kind of style quarterback? Like, you're right. You hit it right there. The offense completely changed, and you see how Tyrod Taylor just led his team to victory against the Tennessee Titans.
That's right.
Now, just talking about that, this is why there's nobody's safe. There's no clear-cut winner in the AFC right now, and this is, again, it kind of, again, I hate to say this, but it softens the blow what happened last Thursday, because the Titans 8-2 just lost to a 1-win Texans team who haven't won since week 1. They lost 8 straight games. The Bills just got their butt handed to them by the Colts, who we beat and came back. So, I mean, the Colts are coming up too. You just don't know. I mean, and even though the Chiefs have come back in their own and won 4 straight, and they're 7-4, leading their division now by a slim margin, but they have flaws. They didn't score but 3 points in the final 33 minutes of that football game.
Right.
And you have a Chiefs-Cowboys game who featured a Patrick Mahomes and a Dak Prescott who threw 0 touchdowns combined. I looked at the fantasy stats. Both him and Dak Prescott combined for less than 10 points of fantasy. I had Patrick Mahomes in fantasy at 6 points. So I'm like, everybody's flawed. But that's why I kind of want to bring all this together, because everybody complains, well, the Ravens have all these people. And I heard all these hilarious and ridiculous opinions out there. And again, opinions are opinions. But if you're going to put it out there, be prepared for backlash. Be prepared for the rebuttals, right? Or the challenges and the critical thinking. But Aditi Kinkawala said it too. She backed us up. She works for NFL Network and said, so a lot of people are complaining the Ravens are lucky. Like, oh, they're winning lucky. And I'm like, and she's like pointed out, she goes, how, like, basically, like, that's not luck. And I found some, and I was digging a little bit. And here's what I found out, because everybody's like, well, you hear the old adage like, well, if we have those people in IR and we're not going to go anywhere this year, we must lose for draft picks. I'm like, we're in no position to losing for draft picks. So let's get that out of the way. We have 7 wins. But because the Ravens keep saying, well, winning masks issues. Like I keep hearing all the time, like, well, they keep winning. Why do they keep winning when they suck or when they have this? I'm like, they suck because they have 16 people in IR. We know they have the whole running back room remade. We have, receivers coming in and now. Sammy Watkins has played half the year. Bateman didn't come back until midway through the season already.
Right.
Nick Boyle just got back. We have injuries, but they are flawed, but they're winning despite. I'm going to put that word in there, Brandon, despite. They're winning despite, not winning because of all that. They're not lucky. There's no luck about it. You can't get lucky. Lucky is, and again, plays are made, but you can call luck. Maybe you go back. Okay, maybe a 4th and 29 play in the Super Bowl year was luck because no one attacked. I mean, it was a miraculous play. Maybe the Maha Miracle was luck because that's an improbable play. You call it that's why it's called Maha Miracle for a reason. It was one once in a lifetime play that just happened. Just like David Tyree in the Super Bowl with the Giants, just like Julian Edelman with the infamous catch in the comeback with the Patriots. These once in a lifetime plays happen. You're like, oh, you get some lucky, but again, who doesn't have some luck bounce their way every once in a while, right? Like sometimes it just happens. Like, right. Okay, but they're winning despite the flaws. They're not winning because they're flawed. They're definitely flawed. But if it was a problem and they weren't getting lucky, they probably have 1 or 2 wins right now. They're winning with all these people hurt. Does that not mean that the system's awesome and the talent just can be installed? I mean, it's remarkable to me what they're doing. And I'm like, I don't even want to start this conversation again, but like, how do you even not have John Harbaugh up there for the Coach of the Year candidate, at least considered?
He has to be, yeah.
And even with Lamar, what they're doing, Lamar Jackson's has all the stats leading them to come from victories, and they have all these people. It's like the Ravens don't care. It's like, oh, another guy hurt. We're just going to go out and try to win a football game. They don't care. The Ravens don't care about your opinions. They don't care about who's hurt, who's not. If it was that big of an impact, they would have 1 or 2 wins right now. They are 7-3. They played 10 games and won 7 of them. I mean, really? You won 7 out of 10 football games, and all these injuries, most of these injuries happened before they stepped on the field against the Raiders in Monday Night Football. All 3 running backs got hurt, and Marcus Peters got hurt before they even played a down regular season football. And then obviously Bateman was training camp. So Bateman, again, was well before week 1. A lot of these injuries are well before the Ravens started their march from week 1 on. So, and they're getting guys back. Big country Ben Cleveland's coming back. I just heard, there's a few more Ravens designated to return.
Pernell McPhee's supposed to come back in like 2 or 3 games.
Exactly. And we're getting healthy for this big gauntlet stretch because, Brandon, I don't believe it or not, the Ravens play 5 divisional games amidst a game with a Packers and a Rams football team.
This is a rough December.
It's going to be a gauntlet, and you probably saw my post earlier. 3 weeks of hate start right now. We have 3 in a row against AFC North Division's opponents, 2 out of 3 against Cleveland. All starts this weekend on Sunday night. So, like, to have this win, it's a huge morale boost because now it's like they're winning. It's like, really, you won with, like, backups and you won with all these injuries. That means, okay, install the starters. We can certainly have a good time and win. And you know what they're capable of. So that's why I feel like, especially with the comeback win with the Bears, and again, you can say it was the Bears. Well, I'm like, well, what just happened with the Dolphins? That's why I kind of want to say, to me right now, putting Thursday Night Football past us with the Dolphins, I feel like that's a blimp on the radar. That was kind of like an anomaly, like short week. They had to travel. They literally look lost. But I'm like, if it was a problem, they would have gotten shellacked with their backups in against the Bears, wouldn't they not have?
Right.
They showed tenacity. And again, what's awesome? The problems are still there. I want to say awesome because it's an issue, Brandon, but the O-line led up 6 sacks to Huntley again. The secondary is continually to get eaten alive with big pass plays. Do you realize that taking away 2 big pass plays by Andy Dalton, between Andy Dalton and Justin Fields, the Bears have nothing. They didn't move the ball, and they even missed a field goal. You take away, and again, with the problem, and the problems are there. And the thirdly is missed tackles because the Mooney touchdown, they certainly missed tackles on that one. That was embarrassing. But and then the 4th and 11, I was actually okay with the touchdown because they didn't go to that prevent defense like kind of like that whole, oh, we're going to play to lose the game. They went all out blitz and they dared Andy Dalton say, you know what? Dare you. We're not going to play this whole Tyler Boyd crap again. Because that defense was zone coverage and there was a lapse in that coverage, if you remember that game. This one was just an all out blitz. Go get it. But I'm going to pick apart a part of that play on that. if Stevens, because Stevens, they replayed the play, and Stevens looked like he wanted to block somebody on the blitz. And when he realized there was nobody to block, he kind of got lost in the shuffle. If he'd have hit that hole, he would have had Andy Dalton. I don't think Andy Dalton even gotten the ball off. It would have been a sack, game over. And not only that, but Tyus Bowser ended the game with a sack eventually. But just the credit Tyler Huntley when it mattered most. Think about the end sequence there. Bing, bang, boom. It was Rashad Bateman drawing the pass interference, what was almost a game-sealing interception from the Bears. Huntley was upset, obviously, visibly, dropped the ball. He throws a pass to Duvernay, throws an absolute awesome pass running to his right towards the sidelines to a wide-open Sammy Watkins, set us up, and Devonta Freeman cashed in with the touchdown. It was like bing, bang, boom, done. And it was like, it left you thinking, like, where was that all game? But I'm like, right. I really don't care.
Right.
Because the Ravens did that against Colts. Dead for 3 quarters, and all of a sudden Lamar looks like Michael Jordan. You're like, where was that all game? If you did that for 4 quarters, you would have scored 60 points and 7 to 8 touchdowns. But who cares? They won the game. But hey, if it was late, if it was early, it happened when it mattered most. And the Ravens are the most resilient team I've ever seen. And what's awesome about this bunch of guys this year is they fight no matter what. The Ravens dig and claw and scratch away no matter what. That's why it just brings me back, like your shirt says, good. It brings me back that whole like Harbaugh speech. Remember the speech with Lamar's first win? Like, everything's going crazy. Good. Lamar's sick. Good. Hollywood Brown's out. Good. Justin Fields got knocked out. And here comes Andy Dalton throwing touchdowns. Good. Let him. Defense giving up big plays. Good. Like, who cares? Because they're winning despite the problems. And hey, I don't know about you, but it's awesome, exciting, and I'm here for it. Heart attack games or not, yeah. It's fun all around, bro. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what to expect with the Ravens game, and that's what you want to see. Expect the unexpected. That's what you want to see from the Ravens. And, I mean, yeah, it has been rough every single Sunday, Thursday, or Monday, whenever they're playing, to watch this team. Because I'm like, oh, my God, what's going to happen? But it's a full game. They do play the full 60 minutes, and that's why they're winning. Now, I mean, you brought up that 4th and 11 play going for the blitz. I do want to bring up, though, Chris Westry, who number 30 on that team. He's the one that kind of got burned on that play. Harbaugh said that he is learning from that. He is a new guy on this team this year, and that even though they came away with a win, he was still beating himself up in the locker room afterwards. I got to say, when my girlfriend and I went to training camp, we noticed number 30, Chris Westry, didn't really look like he was like putting in a full effort when we saw him in training camp. And it could have just been a hot day. Could have just been, us seeing him being like, I don't know about that. But he got injured earlier in the season. He missed a couple games. I don't know. I'm a little worried going forward that our secondary is so beat up. We also had Tavon Young, who got hurt. I think he had a foot injury 2 games ago. He was out there playing. He wasn't great. Jimmy Smith wasn't out there.
Right.
I feel as if Chicago may have just exposed the secondary even more. We know what happened against the Colts with Anthony Averick constantly being targeted and having things happen. Have the Bears kind of shown that Chris, I'm going to continually miss that R in his first name, Chris Westry, has he been exposed now as another weak point on this secondary that the Browns, the Steelers, the Packers, all those teams, are they going to try to target him more going forward, do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's certainly going to be an issue with targeting him going forward, because obviously there's a vulnerability there. There's an experience, but what about Chris Westry you brought up? Number one, I'm interested to hear about your notes and observations from training camp, and it's evident through the season, but it's also about growth and learning. And like you said, Harbaugh alluded to that he's learning. He's still beating himself up. Him beating himself up means he cares, for one, because there's some things I do and I'm still mad. Even years later, I'm like, wish I didn't do that, but you learn from it and grow. The Ravens, going back to all that and exposing it, yeah, teams are going to expose the weaknesses of the team. If they know somebody's hurt, or like we brought up the whole Anthony Everett situation where they knew they were vulnerable, and remember Carson Wentz in that game just kept picking on them. The Ravens just have to overcome that and understand that teams are going to expose that and create a scheme around that to kind of shift it and twist it and use it to their advantage. But it is a concern going forward of all fronts, like the pass blocking with the sacks. And thank God we got mobile quarterbacks, because I think it would be a really rough time for us this year. In looking at the defensive coverages, obviously there's issues there, but like alluded to, I'm not saying like ignore all that because they're winning despite of all that, like the example, but that's the thing. These things could be correctable maybe in film sessions and in practices the week, but it's just the same things are going, and maybe it's just a personnel issue, maybe it's just lack of talent issue, or we don't know. The injuries are going to happen, the backups are going to be in, and they could be exposed, but they got to pull it together as they've been, and continue to do what they're doing is really putting the best foot forward and staying in these ball games without getting blown out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say like, oh, cut the guy. He let one touchdown go. Cut him. We don't need him anymore because,
right.
I mean, it's slim pickings right now for this team. So the Ravens, they really don't have that many players that they can pick and choose who's playing and who isn't. So I'm hoping Chris Westry is going to learn from this situation. He's going to be better the next game because, like you said, him beating himself up in the locker room after does show that he cares. So let's see what happens next game, but I would keep my eye on number 30, make sure he's the guy that the Ravens are going to hope he will be moving forward. Now let's talk a little bit past this Chicago game. Let's talk about the one coming up Sunday night, prime time, under the lights once again. It's
the
going
Brownies.
It's the Brownies, the Ravens versus the Browns, and it's the first time this year. Is it in Cleveland?
No, it's here, brother.
No, it's here. It's here. That's right.
Crab cake, man. At the bank. Come on, bro.
Perfect. I love it.
Where's your schedule?
I'm not home, so I don't know.
Oh, you're on Turkey week. You don't. You're like, I'm on vacation mode. I don't care. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
I gotta give you a hard time. Yeah, it's here, man. Got another primetime billing at home Sunday night.
So even though it's Sunday, yeah. Are your tailgating friends or the group that you're going to be around, are you guys going to be like deep frying a turkey in the parking lot?
I actually don't know. We have yet to talk about this thing. We talked about tailgating or menu. I really don't know what's going to happen in this game. So, but yeah,
maybe that's something Jimmy Seafood will be doing. They'll be deep frying some turkeys at the tailgate, maybe.
Hey, it's going to be partaking either from Thanksgiving leftovers for all the weekend till maybe a new tailgating spread. But looking forward to seeing what the menu is. Have
you seen some of the people that are hosting in December? You got Terrell Suggs coming back to town for the tailgate, and the Iron Man Cal Ripken is going to be
Packers.
Yeah,
I think the Packers game. I think he's got Joey Chestnut for this one. There's apparently he's going to be judging an eating contest at the tailgate. Right. So he's got Joey Chestnut, the Iron Man Cal Ripken to come for the Packers, which is fitting because the Packers had their own Iron Man and Brett Favre played all those games in a row,
right?
Which is insane. And obviously the streak kept alive on other teams. And then obviously Terrell Suggs, he always lived for the Ravens Steeler Billings. So yeah, Jimmy's does it up, man. I can't wait to see what the menu is. But what is on the menu is waiting all day for Sunday night. Miss Carrie Underwood's going to sing it for us. And it's going to be a cold, crisp night, I'm sure. Late November, Thanksgiving weekend. A great one to cap off a weekend, and obviously the Monday night game to follow that. Beyond that, but it's going to be a great divisional rival. I mean, the Browns are right there; they're right on our heels, and we're really highly concerned with the divisional race to see how it plays out. Because everybody's right there. This is anybody's for the taking. But the Ravens, thankfully, to the Chargers, which was an insane Sunday night game. So we go from another crazy Sunday night football to probably another great installment of Ravens Browns rivalry, another great installment of Ravens football, how they're going to pull this one out. But, we know what's at stake. They're a Browns team that is a little bit different because obviously they don't have which was then Odell Beckham Jr. I don't think really made an impact why he was on the Browns, to be honest.
Right.
It's probably why he's released and why, he asked for that and he moved on to the Rams.
Well, he had his dad ask for him.
Exactly. But we'll be seeing them in January for the new year because the Rams come here to Baltimore for the second to the second to the last game in the season finale for the Ravens. So we'll get to see him again, but on a different team. But besides the point, we have a long way to get there. Browns, we know what they're about. They posed a lot of troubles running game. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb's been banged up a little bit this year. And as we know, the running game too with Kareem Hunt, right? They've asked other running backs to come in. Dearness Johnson's been a stud for him coming in. Nick Chubb right now is certainly, the guy for him, the bell cow. He's going to get all the looks in the running game. Baker's still Baker, even though there's been a lot of criticism as of lately. We know
he's very banged up.
He's very banged up. A lot of people are basically saying like he's not worth a contract, not worth that first round pick. He hasn't shown the potential. And the results are in the pudding, right? The stats back that up, and you can make your opinion and arguments no matter what. We know who the better quarterback is in that draft so far. It's Lamar Jackson, selected, 31 spots later on a division rival team. But it's going to be another great installment, man. I can't wait.
I got to say real quick, I mean,
yeah.
people saying Baker Mayfield isn't going to be worth that contract. He should have been in the first round, whatever. Are they forgetting, like, what the Browns were before he got there? Like, the Browns were like an afterthought before he showed up. There wasn't any chance they were even sniffing the playoffs. Now they at least have played in the playoffs. Are they like a number one team? Are they going to make it to the Super Bowl this year? I don't think so, but they are a legit contender, and that's because of Baker.
Absolutely. And you can't discount and discredit what he's done for that organization so far in that short amount of time. Led the team to 11 wins last year, 11-5, won their first playoff game in Lord knows how long. They're up and coming. This isn't, like you said, this isn't your Browns of old under Tim Couch, and they're winning 1 or 2 games a year and they're firing coaches left and right, and it's a quarterback carousel. I think this is the first time that, at least in my eyes, that the Browns haven't fired a head coach or the quarterback. They've kept the same head coach and quarterback for consecutive years, and I'm like, they're finding that stability, and you got to respect that, because how many times is that the Ravens have only 3 head coaches in their tenure here in Baltimore.
Right.
They've had some instability at the quarterback position until Joe Flacco came along. Now we got Lamar, so we got some franchise guys under center for a long time there, for years to come. Carrying on to 2 to 3 decades of worth of quarterbacks. So, and that's what makes a franchise. You have to have a solid head coach and that solid quarterback. And it's basically, it is a marriage, in football terms. You look at the winning combos, Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Tomlin, they've been there forever. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, been there forever. Now Patriots, look out, man. It looks like Bill Belichick's doing his thing with Mac Jones. Could be another one. Patriots are in first place. Watch out. I mean, just saying. It's just saying, man, look out. Patriots are up and coming, and who knows where that might lead into the playoff race. But, and you look at that. You look at Tom Coughlin, Eli Manning. You look at all these head coaches that have had that quarterback and head coach, and the teams that have had quarterback head coach stability. Seattle Seahawks, obviously, they've had a few Super Bowl berths in the championship under Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. So you can go across the league and see it. You get my point there. So, looking at this matchup, you got the old school matchup mixed in with the new school. I mean, you got, the Ravens Browns histories. We know it. You got Myles Garrett on the defensive end, the defensive front going to wreak havoc. Obviously that's going to be the matchup to watch out. The Ravens offensive line guarding him to see how they get the schemes in. You're going to see, and I want to see the pressure from the Ravens on Baker, and knowing that, like, hey, if you smell blood in the water, if he's off injured and coming off, not a subpar performance. I mean, they barely beat the Lions, but I'll tell you this. The Browns helped me survive my survivor pool last week by picking them against the Lions, but I don't think they're going to survive in this matchup. I think this matchup serves the Ravens well. It's at home. They're pumped up. It's their second divisional game this year. Second one at home. They've had their first 2 at home against both Ohio teams. First one didn't go so well against Cincinnati. Let's hope it goes differently for the Browns matchup, but everything's got to be there. Taking care of the ball, no turnovers. But throughout the week, before we can get the keys of the game and matchup breakdowns, we got to get guys healthy. And we're recording early this week. It's Thanksgiving week, and obviously we have the holiday thrown in there, and we're going to enjoy some great times with some friends and fellowship and family, and it's going to be great. But I heard Lamar's already doing good, but you have to look at Lamar's bill of health. You have to look at how's Hollywood's thigh. You have to look at guys coming back. So we're going to obviously keep you all up to date. Watch the Call Facebook page for updates. Obviously, you follow me and Brandon on Twitter. Look for the updates, and obviously go out there for that on the other methods that you use. The injury report is going to be key in this matchup, because right now it's really relatively too early to see how that's going to play out. But you almost have to look. Let's assume everybody's back, right? The Ravens, I certainly believe that they can take it to the Browns in this matchup. And I think obviously the Ravens on paper are the better team. And I think they are certainly the better team when it comes down to matchups and what's said and done. But they kind of can't lose that focus and that hope. They got to play that one game at a time. Don't overlook anybody, because we know the Steelers are looming on the other side. Man, we got to go to Cleveland after that. 2 road games in a row after this one to come back home for a Packers billing. So it's going to look pretty good. Again, it's the gauntlet. November and December, I mean, we're in the tail end of November. This is winning football. Between now and the end of January, these next 3 games, starting with the Browns on Sunday night, are going to determine the fate of the Ravens and the fate of the AFC North, because the Ravens can win 2 out of 3 or even take all 3 games. You're looking at a 10-3 record. You win 2 out of 3, you're at 9-4. Some stability there. They have their own one in the division. So if you can take 2 out of 3, you're looking good so far with a couple left out of that. So, and if they can sweep the Browns somehow in there and lose to Pittsburgh, I kind of be, that's kind of what a lot of people I've talked to the predictions. It's like, okay, they might lose the one in Pittsburgh because it's in Pittsburgh, but they could probably definitely get that season sweep with the Browns here in 2 out of 3, which would be awesome. And carry that, since that debacle in Miami, if that happens, looking down the road, they can go 3-1 in that stretch with the Bears win included, would be awesome to set themselves up. But here's where it starts, and this is where I think it's perfect opportunity. This is the road to the playoffs right here. This is the road to AFC North Championship right here. This is Ravens Browns Sunday Night Football. Let's re-energize. Let's get back home. Get back to work. It's Sunday Night Football. Does it need to be even? It doesn't need to be said. It's Sunday Night Football in Baltimore. Can't get any better than that under the lights here, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, we are recording a little bit earlier than we normally would due to the holiday, and we haven't seen any injury reports yet, but supposedly Lamar is feeling a lot better. At least he was on Monday, so that's good news. Hopefully we do have Lamar Jackson playing. Apparently he was even at the stadium on Sunday. So
no, he was going to try to go, but
yeah.
Now here's what's funny, and I'm glad you said that. He was apparently went like from 50-50 to like, oh, he's not playing. You heard Harbaugh's comments, right? Like absolutely no way he would have played. I wonder if let me ask you this, and I'm asking this, number one, rhetorically, but 2, I really want to know what you think. Would he have played, and would Harbaugh change his tune, and would he have played if this was a playoff game? I don't know how severe his symptoms were. I mean, obviously I'm glad it wasn't COVID related, but how severe was he? Because I'm like, if he was good enough to be at the game and travel with the team, he wasn't bedridden. So it's like, I personally think he would have played a playoff game. What do you say?
It wasn't, they've already said it wasn't COVID related, which is good. However, due to the world we're living in right now, if it was a playoff game, I imagine he wouldn't be playing just because we live in this COVID world. Pre-COVID, he probably would have played just because, it may have been the flu or something like that. But you don't want somebody going out there, I know everybody gets tested and everything, but you're putting somebody out there who their immunity is already down because they're not feeling well against a team that could pop a positive test after the game or something like that. I think that you're kind of keeping them away a little bit longer just because of the world we live in right now. But pre-COVID, yeah, I think he would have gone if it was a playoff game. But now in today's world, probably not.
Probably, and I can certainly understand your stance on that too as well. I'm actually, while you were speaking and listening to that, I was trying to dig through the injury report to see if I found anything. It is too early to tell. Obviously, on some notes there, they're hopeful that Hollywood would be good to go this week. There's a lot of like, let's hope, we'll see. I know Malik Harrison was designated to return to practice. Nick Boyle, Harbaugh's comments on Nick Boyle was he's going to get better. He's got to get used to his knee. It was his first game back, a little rusty. Right.
Expected.
To be expected. Looking on the Brown side, Stefanski was saying hopeful Hunt and Conklin would be able to play for the Browns. So again, you could see Jack Conklin and Kareem Hunt to be back for the Browns. So we'll see. But if Conklin can't go, would be awesome is because let's just see what happens before we get into speculation. We're going to monitor the injury reports on both fronts this week. It's going to play largely into how this matchup shapes up and how it goes. But I certainly think the Ravens can get it done.
I do as well. And the big question is, I think for me as well, for the defense, is will we see Brandon Williams out there? I mean, he missed yet another game. Is he still having this shoulder issue? He hasn't been practicing. Are we going to see him out on the field? I don't know. Right. But if we are missing him, that's bad. But we do have guys like Calais Campbell, who's going to get to Baker Mayfield. Baker, we know he's not 100%. He's more than likely going to play, but he's got so many issues going on right now. I mean, he's already got shoulder issues, elbow issues. So if you give him the least amount of time possible, don't let him set up some plays. I think that's really a key to keeping this offense at bay. Baker is the commander of that team, and if you can get in his face, make him uncomfortable, don't give him time to think, then I really think that's a key to victory, as it always is. But Baker, he's always been up against the Ravens in his NFL career, so he knows the Ravens very well. Just get to him, and he wants to be the captain, commander of that team. Force him to do that, and I think that the Ravens can kind of make him uncomfortable. He's already injured, and we know the Ravens are hard hitting, and
oh yeah,
especially when it comes to the quarterback. But now tackling, that's something that the Ravens are not very good at, and that trend continued against Chicago. Hopefully, the Ravens can work on that a little bit, and we can see a little bit more improvement of that against Cleveland. But I think it really does come down to the quarterbacks. I really do think if it's Baker or Lamar, whoever has the best game will be the one winning. I think Lamar, he's going to be our guy as long as he's feeling all right, and then he will lead us to victory. That's what I think.
I love where you're at with that one, and I certainly think it could be that too. Lamar obviously is 4-1 against the Browns. He's thrown 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against the Browns. So I think the success will continue going forward. I think the Ravens certainly went a close one. We were right on the score, right, with the Bears. We both had 3-point wins, but it was a lower scoring than anticipated. We wanted it in the 20s. The game was in the teens, but pulling out a 3-point victory. But I'm going to go 1 point better. I think the Ravens pull this one out 23-27 against the Browns in another classic thriller at the bank. Certainly remains to be said. Wanted to ask you your thoughts on this. It's been recently reported that Philip Lindsay has been released by the Houston Texans as heading the waivers. Knowing the Ravens cap situation, very, very tight, and the Ravens running back need, what do you think? Do you think he clears waivers and the Ravens look at him at least, or does he get to us that far? Or what do you think the situation is on that? Or if it were to play out in the Ravens' favor somehow?
I mean, I'd like to see it, but can the Ravens do it money wise? That's the biggest issue.
I'm trying to find out. I follow this guy on Twitter. He's like the end all be all for the Ravens, like salary cap wise.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find out if he's actually on the ball and says something. But a lot of people are like, saying the same things like, can they be afforded? So don't see anything about that. Yeah, I don't see anything about that scenario right now. So I guess we'll stay tuned to see what happens. But it was good to see Latavius Murray back on the running back front. Devonta Freeman getting the touchdown at the end was awesome. He ran hard. I'm okay with what I'm seeing now with the running game in the scheme. So, but hey, any improvement's good to adding to the running back depth, especially with the injuries being how they are, and we'll see what plays out this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Ravens could use the help at the running back position, bringing in somebody like that, but I don't know if they have the money to do so. But like you said, I think that they're doing okay with what they have. Again, it's always next man up. But if they can somehow find a pile of cash somewhere and they can get this guy, yeah, sure, bring him in. So you said what, a 3-point game, correct? That was your
Yes.
your pick. Let's see. I do see the Ravens winning. I think it is going to be another nail biter. I'll say 24-21. I'll say 24-21 Ravens.
24-21, just below me. Okay. It's going to be a close scoring. Can't wait, man. See how it unfolds. It's going to be an awesome game. I'm excited to get to Sunday night, get through the holiday week. It's going to be a long weekend for myself. I'm not really traveling anywhere, spending the day with fam here in the county and just enjoying some, fellowship with them and food and football. Of course, we have a triple header on Thursday for Thanksgiving, as we always do. And, and it always brings me back to the Ravens memories with the Thanksgiving games. And, it sucks that the Ravens aren't a tradition in that regard, but they were fun. The 2 games that we had, they were bunches of fun going to those games. And, but we look forward to it. Definitely wish you the best and wish you and your family happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all our listeners out there. And, we're certainly we're thankful for Ravens football and winning Ravens football, despite of all the craziness that they put us through and the heart attacks and the ups and downs. I'm certainly thankful that I met you at a Ray Lewis signing event and the call was birthed. And I'm definitely grateful and thankful that we have an outlet to talk Ravens football amongst friends, man. Thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you very much, buddy. And right back at you. I'm very thankful and grateful that I have you to talk about the Ravens with every single week. We've been doing this for almost 300 episodes. We've been doing this for 9 years. I mean, most podcasts kind of peter out after 12.
I've seen you grow up. It's like a third of my almost a little under a third of my lifetime.
Yeah, but
Jeez,
I mean,
man.
we have a blast, and I'm very grateful
Yeah.
that we get to do this every season. And anytime news pops up, I'm texting you and being like, "Dude, did you see this? We got to get on the podcast and talk about this." So this is a blast to do every single week. So I am very thankful that we get to talk about the Ravens and that so many people out there get to enjoy it and get
And
to
thankful
hear
for all
us.
you. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, thankful for all it doesn't go anywhere without everybody supporting us, and the dialogues that we see online. Thank you for all that and the support 30 years. We're happy to just be two dudes talking Ravens football and just seeing where it happens and goes, and I love every second of it, and we're going to keep it going as long as we can, right?
That's right. Now, we do have to get out of here kind of soon, again, because we are a little bit recording early, so we're kind of fitting this in when we're both available. But I got 2 Thanksgiving questions for you, okay?
Shoot. Go ahead, man.
Number 1 favorite dish on the Thanksgiving table and your favorite Friends Thanksgiving episode.
Well, the one that underdog got away. I mean, that's
okay.
easy.
The first one, okay.
It's got to be that's the instant classic every time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all great, but soon that's a no-brainer for me. The one that underdog got away, bar none, the best one. I'll definitely be watching. I got my friends' Thanksgiving episodes lined up as I do with my Christmas movies to follow, and I will be decorating for Christmas here shortly too as well. We can get to that, and obviously in December, me and you and our Festivus Maximus to the max, pretty much. And number 2 question, my favorite dish. I mean, it's really tough to pick just one, but I'm just going to say this. My infamous turkey sliders. I actually make turkey sliders. I'm going to say
turkey
it's
sliders.
Not really dish. I make turkey. Yeah, I'm unique. I can't wait till the rolls are done. I take the rolls and I take the turkey and put them in, and I break open the rolls and I take turkey in it, and I put like cranberry sauce. I put mashed taters in there. I put everything I can. I make turkey sliders. I have like 4 or 5 little rolls on my plate, and everybody's like, "Where's your food?" I'm like, "It's inside the rolls." Like, so I make it's my tradition. I don't pound my plate like everybody does. It looks like you're at the Golden Corral with all you can eat buffet. Actually, I'm weird and make turkey sliders, and then I don't know. I'll just say this because it's sweet and easy. Cranberry sauce is always a blessing, but you can't go wrong with the baked turkey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to pick, but I pose the same questions back to you before we get out of here.
So I got to say my favorite dish, and this is actually kind of brand new too. We discovered this and changed it up a little bit last year. My aunt made Old Bay oyster stuffing, which she had never done before. There's a place in Ocean City, a boat that leaves out and fishes outside of West Ocean City called Skilligalee, and they sell
Skilligalee. Say that 5 times in a row.
Right, Skilligalee.
I can't do it. I'll be all over the place.
They do. You can buy oysters from them. You can buy fish. You can buy crabs. But we buy a pint of oysters, so we have fresh oysters from Chincoteague in the stuffing, and then you got Old Bay in the stuffing. I mean, I think that's a staple of our Thanksgiving now because it was so good last year.
You're making me hungry. I want one.
Yeah. So if you are in Ocean City, check out Skilligalee. They're really good. They're up on Facebook. They do specials and stuff every single day.
I don't know how you spell that. It spells how it sounds. Skilligalee. I'm going to butcher that.
Don't drink and then say that name.
But I will say this though about food and favorite dish. I can't go without mentioning my cousin's famous mac and cheese. And obviously, and I'm thankful for him. He's hosting for the first time this year. He has no house, so looking forward to that. But his mac and cheese is awesome. So
nice.
Looking forward to the yummy goodness of all the foods that we're going to partake in. The pounds I'm going to gain, the pounds that I have to get rid of, and the pies and everything else. But got football, got family, got food, but most importantly, Ravens Browns. Waiting all day for Sunday night. How about it, Brandon? Oh, what's your favorite? What's your episode of Friends?
Favorite Friends?
Get out of here.
It's got to be the one where Brad Pitt comes, the one with the rumor. That's my favorite.
And change my answer. Nah, that's number 2. That's right, dude. That was up there because that's a classic. And with him and Aniston were great in that episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to watch Friends on Thanksgiving. They have a Thanksgiving episode almost every season. So, I mean, you got to watch that. So, football, Friends, turkey, feasting,
Are they
all
having
the
a
good
parade
stuff.
this year?
Macy's parade?
Is it next this year or is it back?
No, it's back. There's still some restrictions, like there can't be kids under 12 on any of the floats, but there are floats, there are balloons.
Hey, we're
Baby
back
Yoda,
at it.
Baby Yoda gets his own
I saw
float.
that.
Yeah,
all about that.
His own balloon, I should say. He's not a float, he's a
Lamar's
balloon.
going to get a float.
I mean, if
we need a big
should.
like Lamar float. Yeah, someone petition for that. Ravens need to get on that. We need like some. Come on, that'd be great. Some big trust float or something. We need some representation. That would be awesome.
Well, let's hope that there's going to be a parade in Baltimore in February. That's what we can really hope. Yeah, let's get the float there.
Save your vacation days, everybody. February's coming. But hey, they got a lot of work to do, but 7 wins, they're in prime position. Let's go for number 8, shall we?
That's right. So, Josh, have we covered everything for this episode of The Call?
With a full Thanksgiving plate, quote the Raven, never myrrh.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to continue the conversation with Josh or I, you can. It's real easy. All you have to do is tweet to either one of us. You can tweet to me at BrandoCash. Josh, where can people tweet to you at?
Always at ItalianGQ52.
Now go over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/thecall podcast. Like us over there. Whenever a new show comes out, you'll be the first to know. Plus, that's where we actually share the show as well. If you're having issues with Apple Podcasts, you can listen to the show straight on our Facebook page. Now, we do this show for free. You listen, stream, and download for free on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Player.fm, Overcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. All we ask in return is for you to please spread the word about the show. Write us an Apple Podcast review, and then let people know on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Pinterest and Instagram and Reddit and Snapchat and Twitch and TikTok. Anywhere you're social on the web or with your phone. Say, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. I listen to The Call, and you should too. So that's it. That's pretty much it until our next show, which actually, before we go, I do have to say this real quick. I know this isn't an Orioles podcast, but we love our Baltimore Birds here. Congratulations to Trey Mancini, who is the AL Comeback Player of the Year. He came back after battling cancer and defeating cancer last year. He came back and played the season with the Orioles. We love you, Trey Mancini. We're so happy that you're with the Orioles. But hey, that's it for the show this week. Let's go Ravens. Let's beat up those brownies. We don't want brownies on Thanksgiving. We want pumpkin pie, right? So everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. We are very thankful for everybody out there listening to our show. You guys are so fun to talk to over on Facebook and on Twitter. We got a great little Ravens community there. So this is awesome. But Josh, take us out the way you always do.
Always, Brandon. Thank you so much, man. And looking forward to it. Chomping at the bit to get down to the stadium on Sunday. Don't want to fast forward the holiday weekend. It's before us, and it's going to be a great week and great memories to be had. But let's make another great memory with a Ravens win. And just remember the Ravens Browns games, even under the Lamar era. I mean, who couldn't forget the 2018 game? The last game in the regular season, C.J. Mosley intercepting the ball to seal the division win and to get us a home playoff game. At that point, we know what happened there. But it's water under the bridge, and it's a new era in Ravens football in 2021. And just games along the way. Who can forget last year? The Monday Night Football game of all ages, right? Again, another crazy win in Ravens history. The instant classic, man. And the whole Lamar being sick again has a tie into this Sunday, right? It's like, what else could go happen? And glad that this one's on prime time. It's going to showcase just two young great quarterbacks in the AFC North, two young great teams, hungry, and the Ravens. They're the division leaders. They control their own destiny. They don't have to have help. Right now, win enough games in front of you to get you qualified and get that division win and get to the playoffs. And we don't want to fall to these games now. We need the whole crazy XYZ scenario and do algebra just to figure out how the Ravens can make it and don't have to scoreboard watch. So it all starts with the end of this month, November. December's looming. Let's close out in style with a huge win on Sunday night against the Brownies. Let's send them back to Ohio packing. And we love to beat up on our old team, as we always say. And it's a rivalry for the ages and never will cease. And it's going to be 3 weeks of hatred, as I said. Rivalries are abundant here in this holiday season. We're starting it off right with a Ravens-Browns on Sunday Night Football. Ravens Nation, are you with me? It's going to be amazing at the bank, at the crab cake, as it always been called. Let's go, Baltimore Ravens. Let's beat those Brownies and let's fly high.
This has been a production of Brando Cash Entertainment. Music by Brad Lepore and Daniel Kelly from the DBK Studio. For more information, go to brandocash.com.